can a single word change the mood of millions of people in a matter of seconds? That's how ARMY felt when an initially warm and laughter-filled live turned silent, only for Jungkook to suddenly utter one unexpected word: marriage. There was no official announcement, no lengthy explanation, just the word, short but enough to make many hearts flutter and minds run in all directions. At first, everything seemed ordinary. Jungkook spoke casually, chuckled, and greeted fans in a way that made ARMY feel close. But in the middle of that lighthearted chat, the word just appeared, as if it had escaped accidentally. The next second, the mood changed. The previously crowded comment column was suddenly filled with question marks. Is it just an example sentence? Spontaneous jokes? Or is there something else he's not ready to say? What made the situation even more emotional were not just Jungkook's words, but Taehyung's reaction after the live ended. No long statements, no clarifications. Only the expression is captured on camera, a gaze that looks deeper, a smile that feels restrained, and a silence that speaks louder than words. For many soldiers, the moment was hard, as if there is a feeling to be conveyed, but choose to be saved. Speculation has also sprung up. Some try to calm themselves by thinking that Jungkook is just talking in general, without personal intent. But others could not ignore the strange synchronization between the spoken word and the change in mood after it. Moreover, Jungkook and Taehyung's emotional connection, which has always seemed so strong, makes every little detail feel meaningful. On social media, ARMY's reaction was torn between dismay and sadness. Some claim to feel lost despite not knowing for sure what really happened. There are also those who choose silence, trying to respect the feelings of two idols who may be in the phase of personal reflection. That collective silence felt real, not out of anger, but out of a touched heart. Until now, there is no official explanation. And maybe that's what makes this moment so special. One word, one reaction, and one silence were enough to make the ARMY fall silent. Whether it was just a misunderstanding or a small hint of maturity and change, what was clear that night left an emotional mark that is difficult to ignore. Sometimes, it's not the answer that hurts the most, it's the uncertainty that comes with it. In that silence, many soldiers began to realize one thing that is rarely talked about honestly. Jungkook and Taehyung are no longer teenagers growing up in front of the camera, but two grown men with slowly changing lives, minds, and futures. The word marriage may feel too big to just say, but that's precisely why its impact feels so powerful. It's like a subtle reminder that time goes on, even for idols who have always felt close and unchanging. Some fans tried to reread the live cut, looking for tone of voice, pauses in breathing, even Jungkook's body language before and after the word was said. Some say his voice had softened. Some feel he realized something as soon as he said it. Yet again, nothing is absolutely certain. All are just small pieces composed by ARMY's feelings of longing and emotional attachment. Taehyung's reaction became the most talked about part. Not because he said anything dramatic, but because he didn't say anything. In a world of entertainment full of clarifications and official statements, silence actually feels honest. Many ARMY admitted that his heart felt tight looking at the expression, as if Taehyung was holding back emotions that he did not want to spill out to the public. This is where the emotional shock comes in. Not about the marriage itself, but rather about the process of letting go. Letting go of the shadows, hopes, and illusions that fans have unwittingly embraced. For some ARMY members, this moment is a point of reflection. Loving idols means also being ready to see them grow, change, and choose their own path in life, even if it's not always easy to accept. But behind the sadness, there is also a warmth that slowly appears. Many wrote that they would still support, whatever the meaning behind the word. That ARMY's love shouldn't turn into demands, but rather a safe space for Jungkook and Taehyung to be themselves. To this day, the mystery still hangs. There is no unequivocal answer, no recognition, and perhaps it is simply not needed. Because sometimes one word and one reaction is enough to open up a larger emotional conversation about time, maturity, and slowly changing relationships. And ARMY, in that silence, learns to breathe, accept, and still love in a more mature way. Interestingly, it was precisely after that silence that the emotional bond between ARMY and BTS felt different. Not weakening, but changing direction. Many fans realized that the sadness that arose did not come from the word marriage itself, but from the realization that they were witnessing a transition. A silent transition, without a big announcement, without a grandiose stage, just passing by a small moment that feels very human. Some soldiers wrote that they felt like they were saying goodbye to a phase, not to the person. The phase where Jungkook and Taehyung feel like they always belong together, always being in the same space with fans. Now, that distance feels a little different. Not distant, but more mature, more real. And for many, it is precisely this reality that is most difficult to accept. Others began to see the moment as a form of involuntary honesty. Jungkook, in his own way, is probably just talking about life in general. But the words that come out of a person's mouth often reflect what is on his mind. That's what made the ARMY silent, because they felt that they were touching something that is usually hidden behind smiles, laughter, and a stage. Taehyung, on the other hand, seemed to represent an unspoken emotion. His silence became a mirror for many fans who also did not know how to react. No anger, no disappointment, just silence. An emotion rarely discussed, but very real. Like holding back tears not out of complete sadness, but out of understanding. And perhaps that's where the power of this moment is. It does not explode with drama, it does not close with clarification. It is left to live between pauses, between feelings that have not yet been named. ARMY didn't get an answer, but it did get something else. The realization that loving BTS means being ready to walk with them, even when the path isn't always bright and easy. Until now, the word still resonates in the minds of many people. Not as a threat, not as an end, but as a sign that time is constantly moving. And in the silence that had enveloped ARMY that night, a new understanding slowly grew, that the most sincere love sometimes comes without certainty, without explanation, and without sound. And yet it persists.